Welcome to another Tableau tutorial video. I'm Weston Palmer. Let's get started. But first, a thank you to my Patreon supporters. I love the interaction and feedback. Today I'm going to show you how to create one of these little KPI boxes that changes colors from white to red. It's conditional formatting for a KPI box. This is a dashboard that I've already previously created. And let's go ahead and just create a new board. So first thing I'm going to do, I want the change to be on the sales or the state. And I'm going to show this as a filter just to walk you through what I'm doing here. I'm going to bring the sales over to the text because I want to show the sales. And then I've created a custom calculated field. If I can find it. Oh, here we go. KPI sales. This is a real simple formula. It's looking at you want to use an aggregate here because on the screen, that's what, and this could be sum of sales, or if you were doing something else, average, quantity, whatever. And this is going to be your threshold where it changes from red to white. Then 1, else 0, end, right? So we're going to bring this KPI over to the color. What you do now, come to the color, you're going to edit that. And this is already giving you an automatic. And if you pull this down, you're going to see a whole variety of options. You should have seen this already. The one thing that is key here is this needs to be green. This needs to be a continuous item. If it's discrete, when you go to color, it's only going to give you the one option. And the key here, when you do this, what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to trigger, 0, it's white, 1, it's red, or the other way around. And I have not been able to find a white in all these colors here, or a transparent or something. So this is how I'm getting around that. This has to be continuous. Sometimes, depending on how you've done the calculated field, this will come across as discrete or continuous. This is continuous. Under colors, and then I go down here to the bottom, custom diverging. It'll give you two options. You want it to be red if it's below 30,000 and white if it's above 30,000. And then I go to stepped colors and I make this 2, so you only have 2 options. And then I go to advanced, and you can see that this is 1. You want to change that to 0, or whatever your bottom number is. Maybe it's anything below whatever, 100 or whatever. And then I make the end equals 1. So now you can see that this is splitting in half. And that's okay because this value is only going to be 1 or 0. Click OK. That dollar goes away because here's the other key point. All right, you have to change this to a size. I'm going to show the filter so we can just test this out here. All right, so for whatever reason I cannot get this. You should be able to select this size like you're doing with the bar here. And you should be able to draw it all the way to the right. You want it to fill the entire space. Now, you've got the bar. We'll do some formatting here. Now that we're at this dashboard, we're going to bring over a vertical floating container. And then we're going to bring in text. I'm hitting Shift so that it drops inside the container. And I'm just going to call this KPI. Now we got a big space here. And now I'm going to bring in sheet 31. Hitting Shift so it goes into the floating container. I'm going to move this floating bar so we can, oops. This is where it gets a little bit tricky because what you really want is you want the larger vertical container that's floating. It's going to get a little bit tricky here. We're going to hide this title, and then we're going to want to hide this as well. So go back to sheet 31. Under state, we're going to unhide the filter. And there are a couple of lines you may remember. We want to get rid of those lines, or I do. So come under row divider, get rid of the pane. So those are gone. And we want this to be in the center like we have up here. So we'll come back under label. You know what's really screwy is that even though this is centered, I'm going to make that 12 while we're here and bold. You may have to come under alignment here under horizontal and make it centered as well. Then we'll come back to the here. We're going to have this, you can have it fit the width, that will make it centered. I actually have it fit the entire view, and then I just resize the vertical container. Again, you got to go back to vertical container. You want to move the whole thing, because if you don't, you end up moving the little box wherever. One more time, one thing we're going to do, under select vertical container, we're going to come under layout, under borders. We're just going to put a border on it so that it's kind of distinct from the rest of the area. I did it again. You have to keep hitting vertical container. Now we need to change so that this will filter this box. So we're going to come under dashboard view, and I've already created this sales KPI filter. It's a select. I'm going to edit, and I want it to be just on the select by state. So I selected select by state. I want it to be select versus these other options. And the target sheet, this first one is the KPI box that I already had. The next one is going to be sheet 31. When you bring a new worksheet onto the dashboard, it automatically inherits all these other filters. So I'm going to have to go back and change that. And then we'll exclude all values. Let's see here. Now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the state. And so it looks a little weird. So all you have to do is you just trigger it once, gives you the right item, hide it. And now you've got, so the question might be, why is one white text and one dark text? You want it white text. That's because the sizing. So if you were to take this, and actually let's select the vertical, and let's make this a little bit bigger. So it has to do with the sizing of the box. There you go. Now you've created a KPI that has conditional formatting of white or red. I hope you'll check out these other cool videos that I've selected for you. Let me know what you think in the comments below.